Okay, the next topic is called material requirements planning, and we use this methodology for answering those two fundamental questions: how much to order and when to order for raw materials and parts required for the finished item. So these are called the dependent demand items. So the demand for an item is related to the demand for another item. So then this demand is dependent on some other item's demand. So these are typically raw materials and parts that are required for the production of the finished products. The finished products demand does not depend upon some other products internally. The demand comes from external customers. So finished products are independent demand items. So given a quantity for the end item, okay, the demand for the end item, from that we can calculate the demand for the components and parts that are needed to produce the end item. So those are the dependent demand items whose demands can be calculated from the demand of the independent demand item. So in general, it's used whenever schedule can be established for an item. So we can schedule, okay, this is what we're going to do. And the technique is called MRP, or Material Requirements Planning. So the inventory models that we discussed so far are for independent demand items. Okay, in dependent demand items, we use MRP. So benefits of MRP, and we can closely time the production with the time when the product is demanded, required. So we can make sure that it is produced at the right time, so we increase customer service and customer satisfaction. At the same time, since we are producing exactly when it is needed and not before, so we have lesser inventory, we have reduced inventory carrying cost. So better inventory planning and scheduling, and that results in reduced cost for our customer and a larger market share, and so higher total sales. Okay, and faster response to market changes and shifts in the market, and we are able to provide better customer service even when we are able to reduce the inventory levels. So the MRP structure, it starts with what is called master production schedule. The master production schedule is the schedule of how many units of the end product will be produced. So that's for the independent demand item. So it will tell you how much is needed in which weeks, usually about 6-8 weeks or 10 weeks at a time, in a rolling schedule. So master production schedule is a statement of how many units of the finished product will be required, will have to be shipped in which week. Okay. Then we have other inputs coming in. So this is the need, and this set of 4 different inputs that come into MRP. The first one is called BOM, or bill of materials. So bill of materials is a document that describes what are the parts and raw materials and components and subassemblies are needed to produce the finished product. Not only that, in which order it is needed. So maybe we have to take item A and item B, put them together, and then the subassembly AB needs to be used with another item to produce another subassembly, and then finally up to the final product. So think of items being assembled into intermediary parts, and then those are assembled into more intermediary parts, and then finally the final product. So the bill of material tells us exactly in which order these products should be put together. And then we have a master file of lead times for each of these products. How long will it take to produce? Okay, each product may require different levels of lead time. Some products you may need 1 week, some products you may need 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So that needs to be taken into account when we do the planning. Then there is inventory data. There is actually, some of these parts are probably already produced and we probably have some in stock. So just because an item is needed, need not immediately produce that item. You have to first check whether there is any parts available in stock. If it is, then you use, and if not, then you order the balance. So you need to check the inventory data. Then finally, you have to also look at orders that have been already placed if it is a vendor item. If it is a vendor item, you have to look at whether there is any outstanding orders, so you don't reorder something that's already been ordered. Okay? So you have to look at the vendor order data. So you have to take into account all of these information and net it out, and then figure out what the requirements are, the actual requirements are, and then you generate reports coming out of that. So you'll have an MRP period report, by date report, purchase advice and production advice, and all the documents that are needed to initiate production or initiate vendor orders will be sent out. Okay. So the first step is to develop a bill of materials for a finished product. So bill of material identifies components, descriptions, and number required for production of one unit.